Josh, so we have a question, news-related question about mobile sports betting. Is mobile sports betting sustainable in New York, and what are DraftKings and FanDuel saying?
Well, so when the state legalized mobile sports betting, the tax rate on that revenue pulled from companies like FanDuel and DraftKings was set at 51%. Now those companies are saying it's not a sustainable number. So the CEOs of both of those companies is saying that the tax rate needs to be lowered between 10 and 20% in order to make doing business in New York workable long term. So the mobile sports betting, if we're going to talk about total numbers, mobile sports betting drew like 1.7-ish billion dollars in its first full year of operation. DraftKings and FanDuel are saying, don't expect those numbers every year. Expect something probably in like the 10 to 20% less category. But when you figure that the state is taking 51% of that, so the state pulled in around $760 million last year that was used for education, problem gambling prevention, and things like that, big chunk of change. And that's a lot of money for those companies that are operating mobile sports books to have to pay back. And the other thing, too, is those both of those companies said that the quote-unquote real tax rate is something closer to like 70% when you figure the other taxes that businesses of all shapes and sizes have to endure. So for every dollar that they make, essentially 70 cents of that is going to New York State or some agency in form of tax payment. It is a tough number to work from these companies, from the company's standpoint, because they've got expenses. There's a lot of technology involved, maintaining all of this, marketing. They said that marketing and promotions would be the first thing that take a hit in New York State if the tax isn't reduced. What are lawmakers saying about it? Well, their argument is that we can't reduce the amount of money that we've promised folks in education or the problem gambling folks. So we need to figure out a way to still make as much money, but perhaps lessen the burden on individual companies. So one thing that's been proposed is increasing the number of allowed operators in New York. So kind of creating a sliding scale where if there's 13 to 14 operators, the tax rate would be lowered to like 35%. If there's, more than 15 or 15 or more operators, the tax rate would be lowered to 25% instead of 51%. So significant, yes. Will we see that happen? I don't know. Will this have a real short-term impact on DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, or any of those that are allowed to operate in New York? I don't think so. No. But this is definitely going to be something to watch because you'd be very hard-pressed to find an industry in New York State that's taxed harder than the gaming industry now with mobile sports betting and this 51% tax. It's huge.